Right, I'm just going to show you how I fold and lay out, fold fabric and lay out patterns. When you look in your pattern instructions, it pretty much always tells you to lay your fabric, fold it in half, selvage to selvage, so they're here. What that means, if you have a pattern piece that needs to go on the fold, so here's the fold there, and it's like that wide, then that means that all the stuff to the right of that is kind of wasted. So what I always do is actually just find the pattern piece. This is maybe not the best example because it is actually very wide. It's not on the fold though, but that's okay because the principle's the same. So even this though, even this pattern piece, which is really quite wide, it's still not as wide as half of the fabric is wide because it's quite wide fabric. So what I do is find the widest part of the pattern piece, move this over, give myself a little bit of room there. So I do have, I'm just going to pull that camera back a little bit, you can see a bit more. So I have got some room at the side there. I don't want to make life really difficult for myself, but it is, I'm going to give myself a little bit of space. So now I'm actually going to fold my fabric here on the side of the pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that up to the top. You'll have a little bit of extra effort to make, I guess. If you fold it selvage to selvage, then you know that your fold is on the grain line. When you fold it yourself, you need to make sure it's on the grain line, okay? And that is important because you don't want to accidentally cut your fabric on the bias, not even slightly. Now I'm just going to look at my fold. So there's my fold. I'm just going to look at it. Really, more often than not, you can see whether your threads are running parallel to the fold, and if not, you just move it over a little bit. Often, so I'm just showing you the top of the fabric where it's been ripped, often that line of threads that runs perpendicular to the grain line will also be straight. So if you line the top up, then you'll probably find that your fold is pretty much on the grain line. If it's really obviously not, then just move it a little bit. Okay, now you can see I haven't ironed my fabric because there was so much of it. It doesn't matter if it's like this, just make sure there's no folds anywhere. Obviously it's not ideal, but I'm just being a bit lazy here. Right, so let's find that pattern piece. There we go. So now I will cut around this pattern piece. Can you see I've given myself about 1 inch on that side, about 1 inch on that side. I'm going to give myself a little bit of room at the top too. So now when I cut out my pattern, you see how wide it is. All that fabric that's left to the side there is double the width of what it otherwise would have been. So that means that that might be big enough for a pocket bag or for pockets or, you know, whatever, cuffs, anything at all. So rather than having 2 skinny bits, you'll have one slightly wider part.